Black Combe is one of the most familiar sights from the town of Barrow in Furness, and has been so for thousands of years. From its summit today, we can see the port and shipbuilding town of Barrow, but by contrast, in his 1810 guidebook to the lakes, William Wordsworth recalls seeing Walney's early fields of corn from this very same viewpoint. William Wordsworth was no stranger to Lower Furness, and this engraving appeared in the first edition of his 1810 guidebook. In his poem The Prelude, he writes of visiting Furness Abbey, probably in the early 1780s, as a schoolboy from Hawkshead. In late summer 1794, he spent a month on holiday at Rampside with an uncle and cousin, possibly at Bow Windows Farm, although it's more likely that he stayed in the building which is now the Clerk's Arms. William wrote a poem inspired by the view of Peel Island and its castle, the same view that we can still see today. It's hard to imagine that William didn't spend time exploring the other islands, visiting the Abbey, and maybe visiting the village of Barrow Head, or Biggar, North Scale, New Barnes, or Harcourt. In 1840 he wrote again about Furness Abbey after a visit, at a time when the ruins were gradually being reclaimed by time and nature. Furness Abbey obviously meant very much to William Wordsworth. He was outraged to hear in June 1845 that railway navvies were working on the site, and that landowner William Cavendish was proposing to drive the first Furness Railway line through the site, so close to the Great East Window that he was even ready to demolish some of the ruins to get the line through the valley. In a new, quite angry poem, William made the point that even the railway labourers are moved by the beauty and spirit of the place. He condemns the board of the newly formed Furness Railway Company in very strong words in the last two lines of the sonnet. William Wordsworth was a great conservationist and a campaigner against the railways. He believed they would spoil the natural beauty of his Lake District if their building was not controlled. As Poet Laureate, his published poems and letters seem to have carried some force with the Furness protest. The planned line was moved away from the east window, so far in fact that it forced the building of the short tunnel we know today to rejoin the valley a little further round. A few years later, the Yarlside or the Park House iron mine built a tramway which was to join the Furness Railway line at Roos Station. This first Furness Railway line was opened in 1846, its purpose to transport Kirby slates and Dalton and Lindell iron ore to Peel Pier at the Deepwater Harbour on Roe Island. This pier extended far out into the channel from the site of the present boat club. Peel Station itself was situated just where the causeway meets the island. William Wordsworth died in 1850 at the age of 80, just 4 years after the opening of the first Furness Railway line. By this time, the development of Barrow was inevitable, and the changes to come in Furness over the next 30 years would be bigger than even William Wordsworth could ever have imagined.